Hello, my name is Dylan DeLuca Gaines, and this is a part of my summer 2022 THA 451 storytelling course, and it is not a part of any other SFSU affiliated course. The story is called The Veldt by Ray Bradbury, and it was told by my 7th grade teacher, Miss Labella. So, to start off, George and Lydia Hadley are this married couple in a futuristic time period, and they have this nursery in their house that they let their children use. And this nursery is a 3-dimensional mirrored plane where the children can imagine pretty much anything that they want and it will become real. So, you could assume that these children would think of like a theme park or a video game store or anything kid related, but they think of an African veldt. And the symbolism of all of this has a lot to do with death. And the parents begin to be fearful of their children's desires and what they're studying. And they study Africa at school, so they kind of put 2 and 2 together, but they become so obsessed with the animals and the depictions that are happening in the nursery, they're quite unsettling to George and Lydia. And their children's names are Peter and Wendy. When Peter and Wendy arrive in the story, dialogue-wise, George, Lydia, Peter, and Wendy are all sitting at dinner, and he is talking to them about considering shutting down the Veldt. And Peter gets very, very frustrated. So frustrated to the point where he basically threatens his father. And his father says, "I will not tolerate threats from my son," and they stop talking for a bit. Fast forward to David McLean, the psychologist of the story. He specializes in cases of these nurseries, and specifically about parent and child psychology. So David McLean and George are talking, and I'm gonna paraphrase here for what he says, but he says something along the lines of, "You've given your children Santa, and now you've given them a Scrooge, and as in you are the Scrooge. You have become the thing that your children despise, not a parent, but rather an instigator or an interrogator, if you will." And so because George doesn't take that lightly, he gets quite personally hurt by it. He tells David McLean to leave, and then his family, George and Lydia devise a plan to leave for Iowa, a normal place without a nursery or anything like that. And upon this plan, the children hide themselves inside of the nursery, and they're banging on the door, telling the children to get out and begging them to get out. And then the children adjust the controls inside of the nursery, and they have the lions attack and kill their parents and drag them into the Veldt. So at the end of the story, David McLean walks into the nursery and he sees the parents' bodies being pecked on by vultures after the lions have mauled them. And Wendy asks him, "Would you like some tea?" It's a very unsettling story, but I think there is much to learn about it, especially given that it's clearly a metaphor for reliance on technology, given that George and Lydia allow this technology to educate their children rather than themselves. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the story.